Hi. Hi. I don't know what happened with StreamYard. Flubbed up. So sorry about that, guys. I thought it was going to be live and it's not. So there you go. I'm here just for giggles. I got to try to get rearranged. I have two puppies on the couch with me. So, all right. So, Mitch, I'm going to need some help after this live or, somewhere between now and Thursday because I have a special guest on Thursday and I want to be able to invite everybody in. So, hello to the chat. Hello to YouTube world. I am your host, Teresa. There's two. Oh, see? So, Richard's Vinny Barbarino. I know that one. So I disconnected the other one, Richard. I don't know. I did something wrong. Um, I'm reading the chat, everybody, before I dive in. Holy macaroni. Hi, Karen Suki. Ay. Both streams were pre-live, so didn't see format difference yet. I don't know what that means. Oh, for goodness sakes. Okay. Well, oh, thank you. I'm going gray. Can you start to see the halo? It's only been 6 weeks, and man, my hair grows fast, and that gray is just coming in with a bang. So welcome. Sorry about the confusion. Did I already say I'm your host, Teresa? Let's just yay. So it's a chilly day, although it's warmer than it has been for those of us that are New Englanders. And if I could find my phone, hold please, I will tell you what our temperature is at the moment. I know the boys, meaning the dogs, are a little bit disappointed. 24 degrees, so it's chilly. It's going to get down to about, it says 7 degrees. So, hello, we're in winter, people. Yes, Karen Gray is in right now. And for me, it's an affordability thing, but it's also, it's time. It's time for now. I don't have a haircut appointment until March, and I'm going to cut it pretty much off. It's going to go real short, and then I'll grow it long again. But I can't because you guys didn't come to YouTube to talk about my gray hair. All right. When TruthWave is vertically formatted in the morning, it still looks wide format until Victor starts the stream. Okay. I don't know if I'm vertical or landscape. I think I'm landscape. So go figure. So let's dive in, guys. Holy macaroni. All right. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to review, but for 2026, one of the things that I talked about was creating new themes for each month. And so for the month of February, so we closed January, and that was grounding. This month, it's about opening the heart. And it's very appropriate because it is Heart Health Month. And there are many of us in our community here and out in the world that have heart-related issues. I told my story from obviously a woman's perspective. And this coming Thursday, we're going to have a male guest, Richard, joining us to talk about his story. And I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait. So it's going to be a great time, and hopefully I will have figured this stuff out, because I don't think on YouTube I can bring Richard on live. So we'll just keep going. I am going to just jump into the chat real quick. Just wait. We're going for below zero on the weekend. Oh, Richard, I know. Karen said, as far as affordability, I have been cutting and dyeing my own hair for over 10 years. I just chop until it's even. Well, so I can't use over-the-counter hair colors because of scalp sensitivity. Kintsugi hearts, you got it. You got it. Broken hearts. But our broken hearts are all weaved in with some gold, and we are whole for the moment. And look, none of us are promised tomorrow, right? That's the key. We're just not promised. And so, but what can we do? And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's buckle up. And, for those of us that have been stressed or feeling blue or not feeling well, remember your breath. We're going to talk a lot about breathing. I always talk a lot about breathing and awareness of our breath. But when you breathe in through your nose and you exhale through your mouth, you are really telling your nervous system, chill out, take a breath, relax. Everything's good. Everything's fine. I'm safe, and I'm safe enough to open up my heart, to open up my mind, to open up my body. And hey, B, thanks for being here. So, connecting to our physical heart, right? All of us have one. So, that is something that there isn't one human on this planet that doesn't have a beating heart. We all have a heart. We all can feel our heart, right? Boom, 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 boom. There's a steady rhythm. There's sort of almost a drum beat to it, right? It's every joy, every heartbreak, every new beginning, every ending. Everything is here, and it is in our breath that we come into kind of being, if you will. So there we are. All right, let me just come back and go to my notes because I wanted to share with you guys as we talk about heart health. Why is it not opening up? Oh, for goodness sakes. Okay. So, in the United States, there are about 805,000 people that have a heart attack each year. 1 in 5 heart attacks are silent. That means the person doesn't know they're having a heart attack. 3.8% of men in the United States have been told by a health professional that they've had a heart attack without knowing it. 5% of men reach 5% of cardiovascular disease about 7 years earlier than women, so somewhere around 50 years old, between 50 and 57. And I'm reading my notes here, guys, because I can't remember all this stuff. So just give me uno momento, por favor. And then men reach 2% of 2% coronary heart disease a full decade earlier than women. And so for women, 2.3% of US women have been told they've had a heart attack. Women's first heart attack typically occurs later than men's, so somewhere around 72 versus 65 for men. I would beg to differ on that, just from all of the women that I've been in cardiac rehab with. Women often experience subtle or atypical symptoms. That is absolutely true. Within 5 years of the first heart attack, 47% of women will die, develop heart failure, or have a stroke, compared to 36% of men. So just keep with me here for a second. I also disagree with this statistic, but it says women have fewer heart attacks overall, but their outcomes are worse, partly due to delayed recognition and treatment disparities. Okay, so I think that's the only part of the stats I really wanted to focus in on. Now, the other stuff I wanted to bring up. Hang on. Is this what I was in? No. Hold on, please. All right. Just give me a minute. I know I'm just looking for my notes because when we talk about this stuff, I really want to be, you know, aware, and I want to make sure I'm speaking factually, or as factually as I can. All right, this is not where I was. Come on, baby. That's not what I'm looking for. You know, sometimes when you have things organized and then you get there and they're not so organized, you really just want to knock yourself upside the head. All right, what does this say? No. I know, guys, please just bear with me. One more moment. Because I had all of this stuff written out. Here we go. See, it just shows you that if you're patient and you breathe. All right, now let me just get back to my peoples in my chat. And I don't, okay. Here, beautiful. All right, so a lot of hellos. Indigo Blackthorn is here. Hello, Indigo. In my 22, so Incarnasoul says estrogen is cardioprotective. Women catch up post menopause. That is very true. B says, in my 22 years in long-term care, I've seen more males in their early 50s pass from heart attacks. And they were, yeah. Wow. B says, in Carnosoul, guess checking hormone levels is important but costly. Karen says, I remember you saying that last time. That sounds very probable. Okay. We're fine. You're fine. Thank you, guys. Okay. So I'm going to just take a pause for a moment and ask you guys, other than you personally experiencing a heart attack or heart disease, how many do you have people in your life that have experienced heart attacks or heart disease? So that's the first thing I want to ask you guys in the chat. You can put a 1 in the chat if you would like, that you've had one of those experiences, or people in your family, or you could just say yes, whichever one you're most comfortable with. Karen says, my father. Yep. Okay. So when I talk about the archetype for our theme of opening, this is the energetic posturing of softening. And that's what opening really means. It doesn't mean being unprotected. It means I'm available to the truth, to emotion, to support and love. And if you recall last week and last month, we talked about losing our voice and coming into our voice. And look, we're not going to know this as a 20-year-old because we haven't formulated anything yet. We've just blossoming out on our own. When we're born, we're surrounded by people, whether that's family, friends, community, your church community, your sports community, whatever, right? So when we think about that, those are the people that create our voice. So as we become more seasoned as humans and we have more experiences and we're more open to having other opinions, specifically about ourselves, right? We have our voice. And so now that we're learning to have our own voice, we're learning to be open. I'm just going back to the chat for a sec. So yeah, Mish, I'm really sorry. I think you had mentioned to me that you lost your mom to a heart attack. Um, Richard says my paternal grandmother died from a heart attack, and my dad had quadruple bypass. Um, yeah, I mean, look, that's part of why we're having this conversation today. And again, once I have StreamYard up and running, I can have a little ticker tape going underneath my face here that says, I am not a medical professional. I am not a psychologist, social worker, any kind of expert, cardiologist, etc. Nor do I play one on YouTube. This is my story, my information that I have researched, and so it's really a personal. I always encourage all of us to do our own research, because also ethnicity plays a part in heart disease, and in heart attacks. And that will also differ based on men versus women, and also culturally. So, and I don't have all those stats because I'm not here to educate each individual per se on, well, if you're a Black woman and this is your age range, these are your warning signs. If you're an Asian woman, if you are an Italian, if you are Irish, if you are whatever. And so it's an overall awareness. And part of how we avoid having heart attacks from an emotional, spiritual level is by being more open. That does not mean your physical body isn't going to kick you in the tush and say, hello, here's what's happening. So, what's heart health for men and for women, right? Because opening isn't just emotional, it's about taking care of this beautiful little organ that's pumping for us. The heart itself is a muscle that pumps blood, oxygen, and nutrients through our body. Fiona, thank you for being here. And if I've missed anybody, please call me out on that. And so the heart, it thrives on movement, rest, nourishment, and emotional regulation, right? So if we're overly stressed, we have more inflammation, our lifestyle patterns of drinking, smoking, doing drugs, it's all going to affect our heart. Heart disease remains one of the leading health concerns for both men and women. So that's something that I think we need to stay aware of and focus in on. So how does it look different for men and women? And this is kind of the exciting part that we'll talk about on Thursday a little bit. But in men, most often, again, entertainment purposes, I am not a medical professional, common signs in men for a heart attack is chest pain or pressure. Pain radiating down the left arm, because that's where your heart's really centered, if you will. Shortness of breath, sweating, feeling like somebody is sitting on their chest, right? And their risk factors show up a little bit differently. So they often, now again, this is general. So yes, I am generalizing statistics and experiences. Usually men have heart disease earlier in life. They are more likely to ignore the symptoms. They push through the pain or the stress or ignore it. There is that emotional suppression. And part of that is taught. So we talked about this last month, right? In January. Again, it's cultural, right? Men are often taught to stay closed, to hold everything in. Your emotional expression is usually in anger, or it's not usually rational and calm. your blood pressure is higher, you have increased inflammation in your body. Um, you're not somebody in general that talks about feelings, right? So everything stays trapped within your body. Remember breathing. For women, um, it's usually, when I was coming into my own in my 30s, women were often misunderstood or overlooked. There wasn't a lot of research done on women. The symptoms for women can be different because we have fatigue, nausea, we get jaw and neck pain or back pain, shortness of breath, lightheadedness, and the chest discomfort feels more like pressure than pain. Now, in my case, I literally felt like someone took a knife and carved, my chest area, my throat area. So, it's silly to ignore it. Although I did think about it, I thought, well, maybe if I just go to bed and rest. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't, obviously. But it is something that we think about. It can be hormonally based. What happens with women, whether you're pregnant or in menopause, you're having hormonal shifts. And so that's a risk factor. We have higher rates of autoimmune conditions, a lot of stress related heart issues, caregiving burnout. Now, this statistic is based on old definitions of caregiving. Usually, women were the caregivers. I know that this is not necessarily as true today, but this is, again, generalizing. And we've been dismissed and misdiagnosed. I have been fortunate enough to be an advocate. I worked in healthcare for so many years in various roles, never as a medical professional, but I was surrounded by physicians. I was surrounded around really smart people. We talked about this stuff a lot. Women also carry emotional stuff. It's the invisible weight of carrying it, worrying, managing, holding space for others, this chronic emotional load that we have. It impacts our heart. Opening for women means opening to support, opening to rest, opening to boundaries. And we're not very good at that. Right? So I'm going to just jump to the comments. Richard's like, feelings. Whoa, 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 feelings. I got you, Richard. And thank you. Has everyone hit that like and subscribe button? Please do. It's really beneficial. Yeah, Karen, women have been poo-pooed in a lot of ways. And when I was going through a lot of my female problems, I stopped seeing male physicians because they kept telling me it was in my head. But there were physical issues, which we're not going to talk about. I'm not going to put this on men. But I would say any of you that have daughters, believe them when they're telling you that some of their female related issues, it's not in their head, it's physically in their body. Let's see. Richard said, bite tongues because he doesn't want to go too far ahead of Thursday. I know. I don't want to go too far ahead of Thursday. Karen says, B says, yeah, doctors do want to brush off our symptoms. And I don't think it's just male doctors. I mean, at that time it was. But I had a female doctor that really, she basically told me to suck it up, buttercup. Really. And I can only tell you, I started to really feel cuckoo. Like, well, maybe I am exaggerating what I'm going through. And I've had dark times, and that's not something for today, but it's disturbing when physicians have like a cheat sheet, especially in today's technology world. They're presented a screen and they can enter in. It's almost like ChatGPT, right? You can plug in. Teresa says she's got anxiety and she can't sleep. She only sleeps 2 hours a night at one time, and she's gaining weight, but she's not eating bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and she's been having chest pains. Yeah, give her okay, plug it in. Give her antidepressant. There's no more, and I remember this. I sound like my grandmother. My God, I remember in the old days, the doctor would really go through everything with you. Somewhere when technology sort of came into the medical offices, you had to hurry up and key everything into the system or transcribe it so that someone could then enter it in for you. Caregiving has changed so much in the medical profession. Now, I consider myself truly blessed. The doctors that I have encountered in my area sit down and they go through a whole thing with me. And I mean, they know my history and they try to make the connections. They are partly, I think it's because it's not doctors, they are NPs or PAs. So I think that's the difference, but that's just my opinion. I don't know about you guys in Canada and or other countries, what your experience is. Um, my mother was a transcriptionist for years for doctors. She was Dr. Mom in the family. Absolutely. I get it. Women doctors get the same training as males. I have had male doctors recently that I really liked, but my current GP is a woman. Yeah, I won't see any male doctors. And maybe that's just because of the violence that I've experienced and just being uncomfortable with any male doctors. So that could just be me. However, I have a great male, um, what do they call them? Um, he did my colonoscopy. Is that GI? My GI doctor, I'll say that. And my cardiologist is a guy. I adore him. And, you know, maybe because he saved my life. But um, yeah, recently I had seen a male gynecologist. He didn't believe in PMS. Yeah, just so B, that's the Sicilian in me wants to just jump through the screen and go to that doctor and bitch slap him. Um, Mish says, I just took my 20th phone call today from a voice calling service. Those are going to get me, I'm afraid. Oh, my word. Um, yeah, female doctors, I mean, you know. Thank you, Mish. Yeah, I love my heart doctor. Gastroenterologist. Okay, thank you. So, just to, again, it's tapping into our voice, it's tapping into owning our own care, but it's also awareness, guys. And part of what we've been talking about, at least me for the last year, as I grow, as I have these great teachers, um, Anne-Marie, Donna, Nanako, so many others that have helped me focus on the spiritual side of my healing. And when we talk about wounds, and I created this channel, Wounds to Wisdom, it's really, wounds can be anything. Wounds can be, they can be scraped knees, they can be body injuries, they can be sports injuries, they could be childhood traumas, teenage traumas, early 20 traumas, right? And trauma is is personal. It's individual. It's not the same for everybody. Um, you know, so wounds really just to wisdom, it's how do we learn through the things that we've experienced? And the lessons with our heart is to listen and to slow down and to, you know, for heart health care, taking a walk, practicing honest conversations. And that is the hardest thing to have. I've got to tell you, it's funny, I used to consider myself one of the most honest individuals. And as I started doing all of these inner work with even my therapist, who I should throw in there as a spiritual healer because she is for me, I found out that I danced around the truth a lot because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. Letting yourself cry instead of holding it in is another solution. For many years, I was a crier, and then I stopped. And I built a moat around me and a brick wall around the outside of that, and then barbed wire fence around that. You're not getting in, and you're not going to hurt me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Now, I say that, but I got hurt a lot. And that's just me. That's my sensitivity. And it was my inability to communicate to myself what would make me feel good or important or worthy of being in a friendship. The other thing that I didn't learn until the last couple of years was saying, I need a moment. And I can't get into that conversation because I need a moment. I have to think about that. Now, there's always going to be people that are going to push your buttons, and they get off on that. The way that we reel that back in is by taking away that pleasure from them. By saying, hey, you know what, you're right. You do you. And the conversation's over. You're not going to try to convince them to think your way or whatever. It's reducing the aggravation and the stress, right? So I want you to think about this for the month. Where is your heart asking you to open? Is it opening to rest? Does it want you to open up to support? Does it want you to open up to truth? Do you need to open up to love? Do you need to open up to your own needs? Your heart's always talking to you. What in this month we listen, right? So a little bit about food. It's not just about dieting, right? It's about putting in the nutrients that support the circulation and blood flow. Because if your blood's filled with crap and it gets blocked and it clogs your arteries, it's not going anywhere. There's no, it's a little itsy bitsy vessel, artery that things are flowing through. And if it can't get through for a variety of reasons, again, think of the highway. All of a sudden you come to a stop. I'm stuttering today. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with words. So everybody knows leafy greens, that's spinach, that's kale, that's arugula. I don't like it. Throw it in a damn smoothie with bananas and water, yogurt, and maybe some blueberries. You will never taste the spinach, the kale, or the arugula, and it'll be in there. One thing I haven't been eating a lot of, and I usually only do it like at restaurants, is beets. So I can't comment on beets. Citrus fruits. They do say oranges, grapefruits, and lemons. Now, there's a lot of controversy about grapefruits, so please consult your medical professional. On a happier note, dark chocolate, 70% cacao, is not so bad to have. And they matter because they're high in the antioxidants. So if I could have any excuse to have dark chocolate, I will be your girl forever. If someone said to me, oh, you can have dark chocolate. Yeah, sure. Now, the only reason that I'm not going to, and you can because there's less sugar in it, but I'm a little fluffier right now in the midsections. So I'm really trying to be more mindful of the crap I'm putting in my body. I will say that I'm having sugar withdrawals, which might be contributing to some crankiness. And because I really, really, really am craving some things that I didn't think I'd be craving, but the sugar I'm craving. and wait until I cut out the creamers, the hazelnut creamer. Oh my God. I'm just going to have to quit coffee because there's no purpose in me having coffee without the hazelnut creamer. I did quit putting sugar in it, but the creamer has the sugar. Okay, hang on. Sorry, let me just get ow, 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 ow. Just whacked my hair. Ow. It pulled my hair out. Good news. More gray will come in now that I pulled out some hair. Okay. Oh, and I'm shedding. Um, let's see. Yes, Fiona, listen to your heart. Karen says, I love beets cooked with butter, salt and pepper, and also pickled. Yum. All right. Well, so thank you. I'm really interested in learning about that. Richard says, plaque in arteries is the body's way of attempting to band aid damage to the blood vessels. I can't say that word. I'm going to try epithelium or more general response to an inflammatory state, reduce inflammation, reduce risk. Um, yeah, there's, I know, B. I'll have to think about it if I really want to. But foods that reduce inflammation, to follow up with what Richard said. So berries. And I'm so happy about that because I love blueberries. I love strawberries. Raspberries are all right. I don't always like the prickliness of it. Turmeric, which I have been experimenting with. I think I shared that with you guys a few months ago. I've been putting more turmeric and ginger in my foods when I'm cooking, especially with chicken. Green tea is also very good and reduces inflammation. There's so many other things. This is just sort of my quick cheat sheet. And these matter because inflammation's like an emotional tension in our bodies, and these foods help to soften it. See where I'm going with the softening, people? Opening up, softening. Um, and then sort of foods that support cholesterol. Yeah, I know. So turmeric is yellow. It does color your food. It does. Um, it is. And I also use a lot of paprika or paprika. Um, I really need to know what the appropriate name is, but I call them both. And I usually use oh God, is it Meg Ryan from one of the movies? Paprika? I think it was with Billy Crystal. Paprika? I love that word. Whenever I say it, I chuckle in my head. Um, so olive oil is always good. Avocado, nuts, seeds. I've been adding chia seeds and flax into my oatmeal. I prep them the night or two before. And so I put in my oats, I put in my chia seeds, I put in flax seeds, a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of milk, let it soak overnight. I put some cinnamon in, which is also scrumptious and very good for you. And these just really support sort of the inner lubrication of moving stuff around in your body, is helping with the flow. So the tricky part for me is the omega 3s. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, don't eat any of them. So they're not the best for me. But similarly, you could use chia seeds, flax, and walnuts. Omega 3s are especially supportive for women during hormonal shifts. I don't have those. And um, I hope that was not a knock on my door. I thought it. No, it's got to be my neighbors. Um, so foods that support blood pressure: bananas, yum. Sweet potatoes, yum. Beans and lentils. Pomegranate, which I don't really have that often. Um, and they're rich in potassium and antioxidants. Sorry, I'm petting the dogs. I need the comfort. They release tension. All right, let's see. B says I eat a cup of dark berries with 0 sugar yogurt every day. Yum. Karen takes turmeric capsules. I'd highly recommend live blood analysis. Okay. Um, Richard says, goulash. Karen says, love avocados. Always have them in my salad. Sometimes just eat it out of, yeah, I love avocados. Love them, love them, love them. We don't always get the best here. It's just a seasonal thing. So kind of disappointing. But I love them. Foods that support a woman's heart health. So oats. We've already talked about the oats give they support cholesterol and blood sugar. The dark leafy greens provide iron and folate. Soy, so tofu, edamame support they're supportive during menopause, especially. Berries are just great for your heart health. And part of the reason why these foods and these things work well for women, because we are deeply connected to the stress and the hormones and emotional labor. So these foods support the resilience. For men, now, and I also, most of what they recommend men to eat, I eat. So this is right up my alley. Sorry, I got to get comfy and my foot fell asleep. Oh, jeez. Tomatoes, they're rich in lycopene. Garlic, hello, Italian. Fatty fish, nuts and seeds, and they matter to men mostly, because men are more likely to ignore symptoms and push through stress. So these foods support the heart's physical endurance. So these are just a few things, guys, that can make us aware of our heart. Exercise is key here too. I'm sorry, I just cannot seem to get comfy. They're both scushing me out of my space here, these puppers. When we choose foods that support our circulation, reduce our inflammation, actually nourish the heart, we're saying to our bodies, I deserve to be supported. I deserve to have my engine running, at premium. And also I care about, the future. By not taking care of these things, we risk really serious risks. I mean, having a heart attack, what we haven't talked about, and if Richard and I don't talk about it on Thursday, I'll talk about it the following week. We risk a really shitty old age. We risk being overweight, and uninspired with movement. Richard said sedentary lifestyle needs to be combated, and it's not easy in the winter. I think I've said this to people before, and I used to say it to my weight loss clients. During a commercial, you just get up and you move it. And I'm not kidding. That's your cue. Oh, it's a commercial. I can run to the bathroom, right? You can get a drink. You can get your popcorn, if you're going to snack, and move. A few arm movements and body movements just to get you up and moving. It's really hard to start. I really admire Echo. She's not here today, but yes, she's had some surgery, but that woman does her exercises. And if you can't get outside, she does a whole routine on how she moves her body and how it's strengthening her arms, right? How it's strengthening her midriff without it being too much for your body. Because if you're not an exerciser, I'm not telling you to go run a marathon. You won't ever continue. My body is achy and sore right now because I've been pushing myself a little bit harder. I've been doing a lot of squats, a lot of leg lifts, a lot of arm things without weights. My commitment to myself was for the first quarter, no weights, unless you're using water bottles, because I'm starting. And I know that if I hurt so bad I don't want to get up, I'm not going to continue. So I know I personally have to do it gradually, but I have to move. I don't want to be an old lady before my time. And I admire, it's funny. I saw Carol Burnett not too long ago, and this woman's in her 90s. Now, she didn't come up in the age of Aquarius, if you will. She doesn't do the surgeries and all this other stuff. She's old school, but she takes care of herself. You have to keep moving. If I'm going to be living until I'm 90, I don't want to be alone in 90, but and I won't be alone in 90. I hear you, Mish. I can hear you through the computer. Uh-oh, it's Ben Bacon Bix, everyone. Look out. Um, you have to move. I don't want to be an old 65-year-old. I don't want to be an old 70. I want to be able to garden. I want to be able to use my hands. I want to be able to go for walks and take the dogs for walks. I want my heart to keep beating and not be afraid all the time that, oh, I'm going to have a coronary. Now, look, my situation is unique for me. The difference between the first and second heart attack, I wonder if I should ever talk about that. I wasn't as scared after the first heart attack. I was very aware, but it wasn't a death. Death was not knocking on my door. This one's different. And when I feel a pain in my chest, I have to really use my breath not to panic and not to pick up the phone and call 911. So it is very much being aware of your body, listening to your body. If you don't feel well, again, I'm going to tell you to breathe into it. And we are going to talk not this Thursday, but the following week about breathing and holding your breath because it has different implications for people with heart conditions. But if you're going to meditate, if you're going to do breath work, you don't have to hold your breath. You can pull your breath in and keep pulling it in and gently exhaling out through your mouth. And you can do that 2 and 3 times. And especially if you're in a heightened anxiety situation, you will really, all of a sudden, your shoulders will start to relax. And you'll be like, okay, I'm in control. I just needed to breathe. I saw a client on Friday. I went to this person's house. This person is dying. And before he even got there, my car light lit up and it was like low tire pressure. Now, I know for most of you that have driven your whole lives, this isn't a big deal. But for a girl who hasn't driven very much in her life and has had a lot of car problems in the last couple of years, I was like, oh my God, do I keep going? Do I pull over? Do I call triple? Oh my God, low tire pressure. Teresa, breathe. It's been colder than the Arctic Circle. Breathe. It's probably related to the weather. And I had to talk myself down and I had to breathe in and I got to my destination. I did the treatment as I was leaving. I said to one of the people that was supporting the individual that was not doing well, I said, yes, I said, I'm a little bit nervous. I've got a low tire pressure thing, hoping that this person would say to me what I think I had heard in the past, which is, yes, the weather has, can mess with your tire pressure. I just found the tool that I'm going to plug into the little tire things tomorrow to see which one needs air. And I'll put air in it. I don't really have to go very far over the next week. So, my tire isn't going to explode, put it that way. The key that I wanted to say is breathing is the key. Don't blow up things. Don't blow it out of proportion. Proportional response, whatever the hell that means to you. I'm not in a car accident, right? The car isn't saying, oh my God, pull over, it's going to explode. It's low tire pressure. It's telling you, hey, you're going to have to do something about this. You don't have to stop what you're doing at this very moment. Um, and that just comes down to responding, not reacting. And being a drama queen, I was all about getting ready to react. And I was like, no, no, relax, relax. The car is not going to go kaboom on you. All right, let me see. Hold on. What are you guys saying in the chat? Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. So glad the weight I lost actually is making it easier to move. That's wonderful, Ben. And Karen's echoing that, and that's how I feel. Having that extra weight, that extra fluff is not helping me want to be, get off the couch. Um, Bacon Ben is saying to Richard, would love that version if he didn't do the Ethel Merman through his nose. Oh, you guys are so funny. Mish says, also the line fold on our ears, calcium, like deposits near the eyes are signs to look out for. I didn't know that, Mish, and that's never come up. So thank you for sharing that. Just moved someplace that stays warm. Yeah, that's a lot to get out of putting air in your tire. Oh my word, you guys are cracking me up. So, this is the whole point is that this is a vessel, or if we think of our body like a car, right? I think some of us take better care of our cars. One of the things I noticed the other day when I went to the grocery store, a friend of mine was driving, not me, and the car wash was packed. I'm like, I haven't taken my car to a car wash in years. Now, this is a fairly new used car, but I'm afraid of car washes, so I don't go to them. In the summer or spring, I will take a hose and I, zhuzh, 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 but I don't take it through a car wash. Using premium gasoline in your tank. Is there really value to it or not? I don't know. I use the cheap because that's what I can afford. But we take care of our cars. We clean them. We keep them, running. We change the oil. We rotate tires. We check under the hood and do whatever they do under the hood. This is our vessel. We gotta start up here and go under the hood. We have to use our breath because the breath will take us to where it hurts in our bodies. And if we can't breathe through the discomfort, that's a warning sign that something's not right. Now, I've been doing some tummy exercises, and last night I was laying in bed and I had a pain in my tummy that I'm telling you, I was like, well, what the hell's this? I found out what it was, and that's fine, but it's paying attention, using my breathing exercises, and really trying very hard to listen to what my body was saying. When I first had that heart event, anytime I had a chest pain, I literally would stop dead in my tracks and go, okay, do I have to call 911? Am I having another event? And this is reduced over the years. I still get these panic attacks when I get a chest pain because I have two little boys whom I love more than life sitting here next to me and a kitty cat. Before I didn't. I had one cat and I knew for sure she would be taken care of by my brother. But two dogs and a cat, that's a lot to ask of somebody who's got a very busy life. Those are my concerns. For some of you, you have kids. Those are concerns. For others of you, you have a spouse or a significant. That's a concern. I didn't feel like before I was leaving anybody behind. So it was less of a I don't want to say I didn't focus in on it, but now that I have things that I would leave behind, I want to make sure they're well taken care of. But I really don't want to just go. Well, yeah, I kind of do. When the time comes, I wouldn't mind, being asleep and go. Because again, I truly believe in the NDE experience, your brain protects you. And it doesn't matter what your body's going through, your mind has got you protected. Um, Mish says, oh God, Mish, I can't say that word, but it's a term for eye spots. Okay. Uh, Ben's like, fix the stuff under the thing. Yes, Ben. Um, Ben says, I think it's good to drive on low tires in ice. Yeah, look it up if you can. Recall that from driver's ed, but that was in high school, Ben, and I think you're a few years outside of high school. That's really funny. Mish says, and village of people who want to keep you around. Oh, thank you, Mish. Ben says, interesting. I see people saying how low tire pressure is better for ice because it increases surface area. Yeah, no panic. But the question stress goes up for a bit as I try to feel whether it is esophageal or maybe heart. Absolutely. So, also our gastro is a signal. And if we get, so I call it agita, Italians call it agita, reflux, acid in your stomach, that can also be a sign of a heart warning or it's gastrointestinal. So we do need to pay attention. And again, this is paying attention. It's also as we age, our bodies process foods differently. We're not as able to break down certain foods or they agitate us more than they might have in the past. I know somebody who really loves spicy food and has found that now it really bothers the body a lot. I cannot eat spicy foods, and when I do, it's like a woo-ha to the tummy, and I am not in a good place. And so you just have to pay attention. This really comes down to being aware, being open to your body. Um, all right, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, Ben says so. People say one thing and AI says another. Yeah. But doesn't AI just echo what people are saying? Well, AI echoes what has been programmed. Um, let's see. B is a Canadian. They all they know ice. Um, Richard says, Ben, I think it depends. Too low, the tire gets too mushy. Bad acid reflux. Yeah, Ben. Move to someplace you don't have. Yeah, but then you have other things you have to deal with, right? Didn't I hear things? Was it in Arizona where it was so hot the tires almost kind of melted a little bit? Didn't I hear that last year? I don't know. Mish says I had to look this up for Boo since she is driving a lot now across the country. The pressure drops 1 to 2 psi every 10 degrees degree drop in temp. It is always best to maintain manufacturer's PSI. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right, before I let you guys go, Thursday is a big show, people. Big show. I have my first guest that I'm hosting. Richard is going to be on, Mr. Incarnasol himself, talking about heart related issues from a man's perspective. And I think this is very important because, again, being a woman, I can't relate. Being a woman, I don't know the signs. And so I'm really looking forward to hear what Richard's going to share with us. Of course, it'll be engaging, it'll be fun. It'll be witty. I'll probably see his face, but you never know. He might show up as Gandalf. I never know. Um, but so Thursday is going to be a really good show. So please Share with your male friends and have them join, because I do think it's very important for men to pay attention to those signs as it relates to their heart. Um, and so that should be really good. Um, and then we're going to continue to talk about throughout the month of February about opening, being open to receiving, as well as being truer to our voice, to hone our voice, to be accountable to our voice. Um, and, as we're more seasoned humans, every year that we are on this planet, we learn something more. We learn something more about ourselves. We learn something about how to communicate, um, and how we get to be heard. It can be a challenge, right? To convey what you want to convey to people that you're talking to, or texting to, or chatting with in a chat box. Sometimes it's with humor, but again, you have to know your audience, right? And we've talked about this. So it's about being kind to the heart. We're going to talk more about some recipes that I want to share that are hearty heart health recipes. If you're not interested in that, definitely comment in the comments. But I thought it would be fun to share some of the heart healthy meals that have taste. It's not bland. It's not your old, heart attack food back in the day. Um, and so we can talk about that. And also smoothies, creating those smoothies with the elements that we're not really keen on. You'd be surprised how much you can get down, and how much you can support your body with a good smoothie and all the elements that it requires. Um, would love that, Ben. Well, so Mish, I know you're typing the word meat, but how do I do a Google Meet when I'm here, when I'm supposed to be live? I don't want to, I don't, so we got to talk about it offline. I don't want to waste time here. I don't think I comprehend what that means. And I've been struggling clearly with getting StreamYard up and running. So I didn't do something right. Or maybe I scheduled it in two places and that was the problem. So, oh, meat, MEAT. Oh. Sorry, you spelled it meat. So, oh my goodness. I need a prop turkey leg with the word meat is mentioned. You guys crack me up. All right. Well, so thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to those that are not in the chat but are still watching. Thank you. For those that are on the replay, thank you. You being here and supporting me means the world to me. Karen says, I had a dream last night that I tried to go online live with something. Okay. Oh, it was a disaster. This wasn't really a disaster. I think it was just technical inexperience on my part, and I will get it. I'll have it down by Thursday, because I'm going to be knocking on Mish's door to make sure that I'm not flubbing up. Otherwise, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Thank you all for being here. I send you with love, with light, with healing, with compassion, with community, sprinkled with laughter and giggles. Until I see you guys, I'm seeing turkey legs. Until next time, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. You fill my cup. Bye, guys. See you Thursday. Don't forget.